Congress is this patient in ICU.
Yeah.
Okay, the management, the hospital is BJP.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on intravenous continuously. So it's aram. So it's like it doesn't want to die, it doesn't want to live because it's on bed. BJP doesn't want it to die also because they think acha ye bill pay kar raha hai. So hospital ke liye acha hai. The bar has been set so high. Then when you talk of smaller scams or smaller allegations of corruption, people say, what is, it's 50 crores or 100 crores, so what? Or he's corrupt, so what, he's doing this for us.
If you're Prime Minister, you're 2040, what are top 3 things which you will immediately think is needed to fix India? 3 things. About Rahul Gandhi, what is he like actually as a person? Because the image which we get is he's very aloof, he's a little bit of a spoiled to some aspect, he's not in touch with what is really happening in the actual roots of India.
That's what I'm saying. You reduce him so much. Even that, see, an image for Rahul Gandhi has been created by us by this robust social media campaign.
Of course, but
he's also a contributor. He's also a contributor. The conversation between the government and people is hardly there. You look at the farm laws, suddenly it just comes up. You look at
Agnipath.
Look at Agnipath.
Combat has changed. Most wars are not being fought by soldier shooting soldier anymore. It's got a lot to do with drones, got a lot to do with satellites, got a lot to do with missiles now.
Now, data is the biggest commodity that the world needs. And we have the second biggest population on the planet. They cannot sideline us anymore. And that's a fact.
How much our generation tries to ignore politics or live life apolitically is just something which cannot be done or accomplished, because politics definitely does control our lives, and if we want to see change, politics is something which is very, very important, and a lot of people just resist learning about it or are just treated very differently. But I think we are very lucky today to have a very seasoned politician in that way. We are Sashwath.
Seasoned in no way, but I'm glad to be here, especially with the both of you. I mean, it's amazing to be here.
But Sashwath, why did you get into politics? Like from the outside, it's seen as a very mucky sort of industry. But
correct.
What got you into this basically?
So basically, people who know me really well right from school will know that I've always wanted to get into politics, get into a space where I can help people. Also, the environment at my house was very, very conducive.
You're the third generation.
Third generation, technically, because my grandfather was in politics, mainstream politics. He was a lawyer before that. So as I said, it has been very, very conducive for me at home. My father especially has been very, very pro-society, pro-people, being a doctor. He always wanted to do something for the people. And I still remember my mother used to tell me, even when he was quite young, he would say that I want to do social service, I want to do social service. And my mother would say, I mean, where will the money come from? First you earn. And this is a joke that we have always. And then, I think one thing just has led to the other. And here I am trying to...
But that a very important point that you just made, you said, where will the money come from?
Correct.
And today this whole political system is based on money. And like, it's just how much more money you can produce than the other. Why has it become like that? Why do you feel it's become like that?
The politicians have created this situation where it's become very, very normal for us to hear about corruption. And we are constantly, we keep hearing about corruption. And in Telugu, there is this word called Laksha Kotlu, which translates to 1 lakh crores. You talk of a prominent politician especially in the Telugu states. When you talk about them, they'll say, this guy has made 1 lakh crores, this guy has made 10,000 crores. So this word is used very frivolously. We don't know how true it is or not, but it is used very frivolously. So to the advantage of a politician, it's become his advantage because people don't expect much, if you know what I mean. So
The bar has been set
So when
low.
they look at a politician, they think this is normal. So when we look at corruption, when we look at shortcomings,
They're not.
there is no expectation.
Yeah.
Your expectation is for him to be corrupt.
Corrupt, exactly.
So there is corruption.
Yeah.
It's been normalized.
And is it true that this Laksha Kotlu is true? People
We
have
don't
made
know.
1 lakh crores, you feel?
I mean,
A
people
lot of
have been
them-
corrupt, there is
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
But the bar has been set so high.
Yeah.
Then when you talk of smaller scams or smaller allegations of corruption, people say, "What? It's 50 crores or 100 crores. So what?
Yeah.
Or he's corrupt. So what? He's doing this for us.
Yeah.
He's done so much for us.
Yeah.
So corruption is okay as long as he's doing for us. If he's corrupt, it doesn't matter."
So
Yeah,
it's,
I
it's
think
now
sometimes
part of
that
the
problem
system.
comes up that like a certain politician, like even if he wants to be clean, in the end he has to run his party, he has to run a campaign, he has to win votes, and if he has the power to grant a tender to some particular person where he will become a multi-crorepati, whereas he will have to live on a government salary, obviously that particular politician will be like, I want my 2%, I want my 5%.
See, the irony is that over the years, you've had a lot of people from the business community coming into politics.
Right.
Initially, if you notice, you would have a lot of professionals in politics, and then they would be surrounded by all these businessmen who want to get a favor from them.
Sure.
Then later, the businessman realizes that why shouldn't I directly go into politics? Why do I need to go through somebody else? And now you'll see most of them
Right.
are into business, some sort of contracts or etc. etc. The irony here is that, again, as you said, that today to contest an MLA election, you need to spend somewhere upwards of 5 crores. Or
Just-
10 crores just
just
for
to
an
get the
MLA
ticket.
election. Not to get the ticket is one aspect. If you're
Now, where
not
does a
very
normal
strong,
guy come up with 5 crores?
Five
exactly,
crores,
and
yeah.
then to win the election because they have normalized corruption even with the voter.
Yeah.
Beer, biryani, and all of this. So the voter also expects money. So the person ends up spending, say, 5 crores. When he spends 5 crores, a businessman will always think of how to get back that money.
Of course, yeah.
Because for him, it's a business, right?
Yeah, it's
So
an
he will
investment.
always think of ways. It's an investment. He'll always think of ways how to grow his business and also to get back the money. Also, he'll think of 5 years down the line, the 5 crores that he needs now
Yeah.
will become 10 crores.
Yeah.
So not only does he have to make this 5 crores up, he also has to make 10 crores for the next election.
Minimum.
So where does he serve the people? He doesn't serve the people
So the
anywhere.
real seed of corruption starts right from the moment you have to get your ticket.
Correct.
That's the
But that's
That part.
that's kind of like my issue. Like, you know, today we have so less people who are, let's say, educated. You know, mostly I see all our politicians. Maybe they are educated and they have their sons have
of
gone
them
to
are,
London and this and that. But
warrant.
are they actually educated? You know, do they have the right kind of thinking to lead a country or to lead a state or to lead their own constituency? You know, anything are they worth that? No, I don't feel that. Not a lot of people concentrate on it. All they are concentrating on is, you know, building up their image and pushing a certain rhetoric on on the people and trying to win the election.
So again, this is where civil society comes into play, right? What you expect.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we forget the most powerful weapon that we have in our hand, that is votes.
Yes.
When we go to vote, first of all, we have to go through this exercise every year where people tell us you have to vote, you have to vote. And what is the voting percentage?
Yeah.
On an average in our city, where so-called everybody is educated,
Right.
hardly on an average you have about 68%, 70% that go to vote after all this push.
Yeah.
First of all, people don't come to vote.
Yeah.
And then, again, your expectation is so low.
Yeah.
You have 3 devils to choose from or 4
Right,
devils
exactly.
to choose from, and then you choose the lesser evil.
Yeah.
And then as civil society, you never object to it. You never ask, why is this guy contesting? If this guy has these cases on him, or if you feel he's not worth standing in an election,
Correct.
as civil society, none of us question it.
a lot of people don't understand, like whenever there's any problem happening in our own civil society, we'll blame the prime minister or our chief minister, not knowing that actually it's your city's mayor or your MLA who has more of a control of your life than
Correct.
whoever is the Prime Minister or the Home Minister.
Yeah, and also this...
There's very lack of education in that, because the only way these politicians are addressing the masses is through their rallies, where obviously they're not listening to you, they just come for their biryani.
Yeah.
Whereas the actual person who's thinking, he has no audience with
But
that MLA.
what is the way around that? Like, today we feel that we must change, and I think there is a push for change as well. Like, everybody is like tired of the same rhetoric repeating 5 years after 10 years after 5 years.
We are discussing this.
Yeah.
The three of us will sit here. Three of us might meet socially also.
Yeah.
And we'll say an educated person has to come into politics.
Yeah.
Somebody who's from a good family background should get into politics. But when somebody like that comes into politics,
no one is
say,
supporting.
can this guy actually do it?
Yeah.
Can he do it without spending money?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Is he cut out for politics?
Yeah.
So we also become very, very judgmental in a way, and we think that this is not possible. This guy is not cut to be a politician. The same problem my father has been facing for many, many years now. He's a doctor who gave up his profession. He was heading the department in Apollo as a surgical gastroenterologist. He was a Osmania University gold medalist. Always been very, very pro-society. I have to do something for society. And when in 2013 he was approached through Rahul Gandhi, one of somebody who was very, very close to him in his office approached him and said, "Doctor, we want you to come into politics." He said at that point of time he wanted to stand for Parliament.
Sure.
And they said, no, we want somebody to contest from the city.
Right.
An educated face.
Yeah.
So you choose a constituency from the city, and we were given two choices, and then he had decided to contest from Mushirabad.
Right.
All throughout, from 2004 till he gave it up about 3 years ago.
Right.
He faced so much of backlash because he was not a conventional politician.
What was the biggest problem that you think he faced? Like, is there...
Same, I mean, he didn't, so I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Again, it's become a whole money-making machine, right?
Sure.
People would come to him and say, give me chanda for this.
Yeah.
Give me chanda for that.
Yeah.
Or what has an MLA been restricted to? It's quite ironical. He'll go when somebody dies. He'll go when somebody gets married.
That's...
His role is restricted to all these things, to social appearances.
Yeah, it's more social.
Yeah, which he wouldn't do. He would say, I've not come in to do this. I've come to serve. So you tell me where you can make use of me.
Right, sure.
I will not give you a single rupee.
Yeah.
So then immediately the backlash was that, okay, he's not a politician. He's an idealist.
Yeah.
And things like that. And then he realized that the whole political system has become like that.
Yes.
And it's very, very difficult in a present political establishment to make the changes that you want to.
So this thing that I want to ask you is that did he face any, because there's a lot of in Telangana, lot of casteism. Did he get any of those? Did he feel any of those?
Casteism, not directly, but it is there.
It is there,
it's this hidden elephant in the room.
Right.
It's always there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. My grandfather faced it.
Sure.
He actually was a lawyer.
Right.
A very, very well-known lawyer. His dream was to become a judge in the Andhra Pradesh High Court. He ran away from his house, took the train post his 12th. The train took him to Amritsar, and then he joined Amritsar Law College. He was 2 years senior to Manmohan Singh.
Oh, wow.
He would polish shoes in the evening, and he would study in the morning.
Wow. My God.
He also had his elder brother, who accompanied him and who was in the freedom movement at that point of time.
Sure.
And
so you're talking about in the 40s, basically?
In the 40s. My grandfather was born in 1929.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one day when he got up, his older brother passed away. He passed away in his sleep, and he realized that he passed away out of starvation.
Oh my God.
And at that point of time, he didn't even have money for the municipality to take his body or to burn his body.
Right.
That really shook him. And he said, I have to do something for myself and for my family. And then he pursued law, became a judge, became a very, very well-known lawyer here in Andhra Pradesh High Court.
Right.
Then became a judge. Then when his name went for judgeship,
Right.
So 4 names went in.
Sure.
When they came back,
Yeah.
his name was supposed to be the second, but it became the 4th because of caste equation.
Okay.
And he realized that he would only be a judge for a year. So he decided to resign judgeship.
Right.
He moved to Delhi to
Yeah.
practice in the Supreme Court. He started practicing in the Supreme Court. I have a lot of senior lawyers who come to me and tell me, who I have met, who come and tell me that when he would argue in court, we would walk kilometers and kilometers to listen to
That's
him
awesome,
argue in court.
Yeah.
And then I think his whole, not a conventional politician again,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
idealist.
Yeah.
His tryst with politics started when Indira Gandhi was facing her emergency cases.
Yeah.
And the Shah Commission was formed in the
Hmm.
Allahabad High Court. Her personal lawyer was Rajni Patil, who's Amisha Patel's grandfather.
Yeah.
And she said, you have to represent me. And he said, listen, I can't do this. This
Yeah.
is quite complicated. But there is this lawyer we've heard of
Right.
from Andhra Pradesh. And I think you have to approach him.
Sure.
And that's how my dad tells me the story at home in our
Right,
old
right.
Himayatnagar house.
Yes.
Suddenly he gets a call. My dad answers the call. He's still in school and picks up the call and she says, "मैं Indira Gandhi बात कर रही हूँ. I want to talk to Shiv Shankar."
Wrong number.
And then he didn't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
And then he took those long phones
Yeah,
to
yeah.
him and he went to her, met her.
Yeah.
And she was telling him how he should argue the case.
Right.
A lot of pointers. And he said, listen, if you let me do what I am good at, I will do this. Otherwise, I will walk out.
Yeah.
She said, go outside and wait for 5 minutes. And Rajni Patil, I think, was shitting bricks.
Yeah.
He must have thought, who have I got?
Yeah.
So, but the moment he went outside, she said, this is the person I want.
Yeah.
Then he appeared on behalf of her, won all the cases.
Lovely.
Then she wanted him to contest. She said, I want somebody who's so socially, has this ideology
Yeah.
to contest. So at that point of time, M.M. Hashim was an MP from Secunderabad
Right. Okay.
in 1979.
Okay.
And Marichanna Reddy wanted him to join his cabinet here in
State.
Andhra Pradesh, in the state.
Yeah.
So it just worked out. He resigned, he contested. And before that, my grandmother
Yeah.
didn't want him to get into politics.
Right.
So the story goes that she said, nothing doing. Indira Gandhi came for one of her campaigns,
Yeah.
came to my house, convinced my grandmother, saying that don't worry, we need people like him. Politics
Yeah.
will change because of people who like him. And then he contested and he won. And we became a law minister after that.
That's quite a story. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
yeah.
But like
insane.
in the Indira Gandhi's time, like a lot of people say, if someone can name the top prime ministers of India's history, Indira Gandhi strikes like as one of the longest serving,
Correct.
and
Yes.
one of the most powerful, also, and one of the most controversial prime ministers
Correct.
as well
Correct.
in India's history. But that Congress, which was ruling, ruled majority of India's history, to what it is today, it's like a stark difference. Like you've been in the party as well. You've left the party. What was your experience like? What has happened from that Congress, from the Indira Gandhi's times to today?
I mean, just imagine prior to, 1977, Congress had won with always more than 40%
Yes.
of vote share.
Yeah.
1977 with the Janata Dal government,
Yeah.
they lost terribly.
Yes.
But then that government imploded in 3 years.
Yes.
She came back in 1980 with a resounding majority, again with more, I think 44% vote share. And then in 1984 when she passed away, 1983 when she passed away, Congress won 415 seats, which has never happened in the history of Indian politics. The closest opposition was Telugudesam Party, which had won 30 seats
Oh wow.
with 30 MPs. Congress had 415 to where it is today. It's extremely sad. I think Congress in many ways has been digging its own grave.
Yeah.
Why though?
I think they've distanced themselves from what's actually happening on the ground, and they've surrounded themselves. I guess when you've been in power for so long, you think that you sort of have some ownership over it, and it'll somehow come back to you. I remember a lot of local politicians here
Yeah.
would say when Congress was at its peak,
Yeah.
when they would lose, they will say, क्या है 5 साल बढ़ जाएंगे, 5 साल के बाद कांग्रेस को ही डालना है वोट.
But 5 साल become 10 साल, 10 साल might become 15
and
साल.
guys,
there is no opposition. I feel, you know, where is the strength to defeat somebody like
It's the leadership.
Narendra Modi, who is whatever you said and done.
He's a juggernaut.
You have to respect his thought process and political acumen.
Exactly.
I always tell a lot of people that pre-2014, you see every Narendra Modi's campaign, video, whatever it is. Find me one video where he speaks about anything else other than Vikas. He only spoke of development. And that struck and resonated with people so much. And then you had this mystical Gujarat model where even though people did not see it, people thought that something has happened in Gujarat and this is what will happen pan-India as well. And at the same point of time, they were so disillusioned with Congress, with the whole 2G scam, etc., etc. That's the reason why I was bringing in the numbers that Congress in 2004 and in 2009 was a coalition government.
Correct.
Congress did not win too many seats in 2004. It won 145. Out of that, more than 30 were from Andhra Pradesh. In 2009, it won about 150. That again was because of Andhra Pradesh. So it was, again, you have those negativities of a coalition government, which even Atal Bihari Vajpayee faced, where you cannot do things because you also have to satisfy your coalition partners. But unfortunately, you always see with great power comes great responsibility. And people who, Rajiv Gandhi with 415, because of the Bofors scam, he faced a lot of backlash. Now even Modi, I feel you have so much that you can do with the numbers that he has. 285 in 2014 and 303 in today's day and age where there are so many parties all over the country. Somewhere I think that he's not able to do what he can do.
But how much of Modi's success is because of Modi's work, or is it because of Congress's failure?
I think both. Right?
Combination of both.
Combination of both, right?
Because a lot of people say like Modi wants Rahul Gandhi to stay in power.
Because a lot of people say this to me also. They'll say as long as Rahul Gandhi is there, it's perfect for him. It's so conducive for him. He'll keep winning. We don't like Modi. But between the both of them, why not we vote for Modi? Which is again very, very unfortunate. See, we've become a society where you criticize BJP, you automatically become a follower of Congress. You criticize Congress, you automatically become a follower of BJP. I don't know why you should be in a position where we can criticize BJP or criticize Congress and not be a follower of the other.
But the problem is when you go to vote, you're voting for someone. You're not voting against someone.
I'm talking about after you vote. No, but when people are bringing in policies, I'm sure you can be in a position where you can criticize without being somebody else's follower, right?
Exactly.
That is what we are seeing today.
No, today actually one thing just came out, and who was that? The alt news chairman.
Mohd Zubair.
Mohd Zubair. They arrested him over something that was in a Bollywood movie. You know, and
see, he's
charged under that. But like, of course, it's a bigger conspiracy. You know, he's there for a reason. So, but I feel that what is the reason? Like, what is the point of doing that?
See, one is, I guess, again, this government has become so much about imagery. Really wants to control its image and what people think of it. That's where it's losing its direction. Because in Indian politics, it is impossible that you have mass hysteria throughout. You will have people who will criticize you. You will have people who will disagree with you. If you see Mohd Zubair's case yesterday, he was called in by a special cell. For one case. Suddenly an FIR is handed over to him. He's booked under section 153A and 295A. Both, one is religious disharmony, creating religious disharmony and hurting sentiments. 295A is. So the CRP procedure is that you have to give a person notice under 41A.
He has no notice.
There's no notice. You just give it to him, you hand it over and you pick him up and go. And then on the other side, you have Nupur Sharma who said whatever she said. And it was sort of completely, it was hidden. Nobody knew what she said for a very long time. He was one of them who brought it out. So when you see these things, I find it really sad that, our discussions are now centered around
Exactly.
religion.
Yeah.
I always tell...
Exactly. Yeah.
But is religion like the cheat code to win a win an election? Or
I mean,
I think it's
when we are
BJP's
playing
cheat code to win the
majoritarian...
but it's been there before also.
It has been there.
Yeah, but
The
it has
oldest.
always been there.
It
But
was
like,
caste, then it was religion.
no, but like my contention is that like it's always the religious card that is played. There's nothing else that is being projected. It's constantly the religious card, which is sad in my opinion.
Majoritarian card you're playing, and it is unfortunate. I always tell people that politicians who tell you how to pray, and religious heads who tell you how to profess your religion or of who to vote for, stay away from them. But again, you have so much in your hands. You have such an opportunity to do so well in this country with the numbers that they have. I find it... I don't think we should be discussing. We should be discussing about health. We should be discussing about education. We should be discussing of how to streamline politics. We should be discussing how we can bring more youngsters into politics, women in politics. This should be our discussion.
Like, for example, if you have to just shift a little bit to talking about Telangana. Now, this state also has been through... If people think politics doesn't affect you, look at how this state got bifurcated.
Correct.
That was also very, very tumultuous period for the state. It was Andhra Pradesh, and I think in 2012, 13? 14. The state got split. YSR, because of his passing away, it created a vacuum. It was a very tumultuous time. Now we've got this party, the TRS. I feel they've done pretty well when I see just Hyderabad. But what is happening right now in this state with this current party?
Again, this... political party came in with so many expectations. Telangana movement has been happening for decades now. And then you have achieved it. Something that people thought couldn't be achieved.
Possible,
Suddenly, I mean, again, call it Congress's bad decision making, because Andhra has been a state that has always voted for Congress.
Exactly.
So if you look at Andhra Pradesh combined, Andhra Pradesh has about 294 assembly seats and 150 are from 119 are from Telangana, and the rest 154, 155 are from Andhra. If you see from 1988, you will always, even during Rajshekar Reddy's regime, you will never see that Congress has got a majority in Telangana. Congress has always got a majority in Andhra.
So it was a blunder by them too.
Yeah, because they gave away a state that was always voted for them for a state that never voted for them.
But as an insider, why did Sonia Gandhi Was it because of the TRS agitation or they just thought the YSR party was getting too strong for its
YSR had passed away by then.
Passed away.
Rajshekar Reddy passed away in 2009 itself. But the suicides that were happening, and this has been happening from decades now. So it's not a cause that has just come up. So I guess they just got pressurized at that point of time. But again, I mean, what's happened has happened.
That's a very... I think it's a very bad decision on Congress's part to...
Politically, yes. So politically, when people say, I say, listen, it gave up a state that always voted for them and took up a state that never voted for them.
That's insane though. Like,
and unfortunately, they thought once they give Telangana, people of Telangana will vote for them. But they didn't understand why people of Telangana were asking for Telangana. That is the irony, and that is your strategy, right? BJP wins or loses a state, will look at the next state, which might be 2 years after that also. They pack up their bags and they go set shop in the next state. Congress is like, bas, chalo, now ab thode din baitenge. It's that very, very casual attitude.
Too used to always presuming that they're going to just win it. They took it for granted.
They took it for granted. The distance just between
Why
them and the people.
Why did you distance yourself away?
So 2016, I was approached by, again, somebody from Rahul Gandhi's office. We were talking, we were meeting also quite a bit. And I realized that they wanted to place me somewhere in the AICC, which is All India Congress Committee. This person had asked me where I would want to be placed. And I said, I want to go into the overseas Congress wing. Because, Youth Congress, you have a lot of people.
Yeah.
All the departments, you have a lot
Everybody
of people. But I
is
feel Modi has also captured NRIs in a big way, right?
Huge.
Big way. So I have a few.
FDIs are through the roof right now. Yeah.
Through the roof.
Yeah.
Funding, the kind of funding they get is
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So I wanted to work in that space.
Sure.
Thought I could afford to travel, and then so then he was very impressed. He said, "No, everybody says Youth Congress, or people say State Congress mein ye de do, wo de do. You want a difficult job? We'll do it."
Yeah.
And then he went incognito for a couple of months.
Right.
In 2017, a gentleman called Irfan Alam visited Hyderabad.
Right.
Youngster, Harvard alumni, and this person from Rahul Gandhi's office told me that, you need to take him around. You need to meet him.
Yeah.
This is somebody who's Rahul Gandhi's protege,
Sure.
and you'll really like him. You guys will gel. So we spent the entire day together. We just spoke about politics, national politics, etc., etc. And he sat on the plane. I dropped him to the airport. He sat on the plane. He said, "Listen, I really liked the conversation we had, and we should meet up more often and things like that." I said, "Sure." A couple of months after that, I get a call saying that 2 new departments are being formed.
Right.
One is the Professional Congress, which is headed by Shashi Tharoor.
Yeah.
And the second department is Unorganized Workers Congress, which is for the unorganized sector. So 90% is the unorganized sector.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to work in that department. So again, both stark Professional Congress, Unorganized Workers. It was called the AIUWC, All India Unorganized Workers Congress. At that point of time, what they were offering me was a role of a general secretary or a regional coordinator. I would be in charge of all of East India and Telangana.
Wow.
Huge responsibility. 4 youngsters were chosen. But from the time I was appointed, there are a lot of things that happened that sort of shook me. For me, at that point of time, to continue, I would have to really let go of who I am, and a lot of compromises which I didn't want to. So ironically, I was telling you about Irfan Alam. Runs a NGO called Samman for auto rickshaw drivers. He was also called by Obama for his national dinner, state dinner, and things like that. So when I went, this was in November of 2017. Before that, Irfan Bhai had called me and said, Telangana, you choose a chairman.
Right.
You choose a chairman because you know about Telangana. You find out, or you do your homework about who might do justice to this role, because this is a role where you really need to go into the masses. So I had somebody in mind. I called that gentleman. That gentleman now is in TRS and is making it very, very big. So I said, this is it. And he was very, very excited about it. We did our tickets and we go to the AICC office. We go inside the office that was given to us. And I see that in the chairman's seat, Irfan Alam is not sitting, the other gentleman is sitting.
Okay.
And Irfan Alam was standing outside. I was shocked, and face was very, very disappointed and things like that.
Right.
Can you imagine a very, very well-known Delhi leader intervened last minute and put his protege as the chairman just because Delhi elections were approaching? And not only that, Telangana chairman was already decided.
Wow.
So imagine the boy I took, who's very, very well known, brilliant worker. I go there and it was so embarrassing because he says, Acha Sashwath, ye aapke Telangana ke chairman hai. And the person who came with me, I mean, I didn't know what to say. Kya hai? This department has not even been announced yet. And post that, a lot of things
so that was the last straw for you, basically.
That was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
And post that, we had a lot of meetings in Jharkhand. We had a lot of whole of Northeast, all the sister states.
But there's a track of this. They did the same to Prashant Kishore also. Where there was so many high-end meetings with Prashant Kishore, the political strategist for IPAC. And he would have really given a big shot in the arm for Congress. And just at the last second for him, he was requesting to report directly to Sonia Gandhi. Instead, they give him some very time pass sort of a ministry.
Yeah,
And thus he gets upset. He's like, I'm much bigger than this. Sorry, he
Yeah,
left.
and his ideas also were good. I mean,
Yeah.
ideas that everybody knows.
That is the biggest problem, right? Like,
They just
that's
shoot
the-
themselves
that's
in the
thing with
foot.
Dynasty politics.
I'll tell
I think
you,
that's it.
Congress is this patient
Yeah.
in ICU.
Yeah.
Okay, the management, the hospital is BJP.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on intravenous continuously.
Yeah.
So it's aram.
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't want to die, it doesn't want to live because it's on bed. BJP doesn't want it to die also because they think acha ye bill pay kar raha hai. So hospital ke liye acha hai. So it is like that. You have to for Congress to survive, like how Prashant Kishore stated, you need to make and see the biggest criticism is that Gandhis are at the helm. He said Rahul Gandhi should become the leader of opposition. He should head the parliamentary part of the party, which they don't want to agree. You've not chosen a full-time president. You have Sonia Gandhi who's ailing.
Yeah.
So it just sends such a wrong message that you're not serious.
Yeah. It's,
About Rahul Gandhi, what is he like actually as a person? Because the image which we get is he's very aloof. He's a little bit of a spoilt to some aspect. He's not in touch with what is really happening in the actual roots of India.
no, yeah, that's the biggest concern that people say. That people don't connect with him on
Yeah.
on the level that you should as a politician.
See, he's an idealist.
Yeah.
Okay, he's an idealist. He has an idea of how the country should be, which is very good. When you talk about it, everything in a dreamland should be perfect. Is very, very nice to hear. But then you have to implement it.
Correct.
You have to take steps to implement it.
Correct.
Not just that, you see, every major election that Congress has lost, the next few days, he's not here in the country.
He's lost.
See, he can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody can
Does he
stop
want
him.
to be in this politics, or is he kind of shoved into it?
But see, he is passionate about it. You get that very, very honest aura from him. But you have to take it to the ground, right? You also have to.
What is the point if you're not going to do anything?
See, it's like standing outside a house and saying that house is dirty, that house should be clean.
Yeah.
You need to get into the house, get your hands dirty to clean it, right?
Yeah.
And as I said, every time he's traveling, and that always shows that you're not serious.
Yeah.
He had made this statement before the 2018 assembly elections also that I think 10% will be given to youngsters when he came to Telangana. 10% of 119, that's about 12 seats.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you only one seat was given. It was given to Anil.
Yeah.
Anil it was given to because de facto he was the Youth Congress president.
Yeah.
And the culture has always been that the Youth Congress president gets a seat.
Gets a seat, yeah.
When a lot of discussions were happening in the CEC, which is the election committee, the main body that chooses the seats, he was traveling. So if he's
He
not
didn't turn
there,
up.
he was not there. He was
Apparently, there's one famous story where some certain northeast ministers of Congress had come to Rahul Gandhi's residence to talk about some very important issues, and he was busy playing with his dog. While
No,
they were
that
talking.
was this Hemanto Biswas Sharma who basically decided to go into BJP.
Acha.
And then he said that and you go and see that. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You reduce him so much.
Yeah.
Even that, see, an image for Rahul Gandhi has been created by us by this robust social media campaign.
but he's also
he's
adding
also a
fuel to
contributor.
the
He's also a contributor.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
That's the fact.
But if you have to
happened.
look at today, we've been under 8 years under BJP rule. What do you make of it? How has that been? Has these 8 years been fruitful for India or not so much?
That's what it's disappointing for me because I feel this is a man, forget what has happened in the past because everybody has forgotten.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into that.
Yeah.
You've been voted Prime Minister. You have single-handedly taken BJP, which had won 2 seats back in the day, 285 and 303.
Yes.
So you are this figure. But again, with great power comes great responsibility. And what all he could have done, as I said before 2014, all he spoke was Vikas. Somewhere that has...
But this is a difficult country to get Vikas in. People are not openly accepting change.
People are not openly... but see, then that's the thing. The conversation between the government and people is hardly there.
Exactly.
You look at the farm laws. Suddenly it just comes up. You look at
Agnipath.
Look at Agnipath.
Yeah.
See, it has its pros and cons if we can discuss it.
Yeah.
The pros are our the average age of the Indian Army is 32 years.
Too high.
Too high. You want to bring it down to 25 years or 24 years.
Correct.
So you need youngsters between 17 and a half to 22 to come in to lower that average age.
And 60% of the budget we're paying pensions and
A quarter of your army budget goes into pensions.
5 lakhs.
1.2 lakh.
No, 5.25 lakh crores is your budget every year.
Correct.
1.19 lakh crores goes into pensions.
And 1.8 crores goes into salaries.
Yeah, so government says...
Plus 50 lakh crore goes into miscellaneous.
Correct. So government says this 1.19 lakh crores we'd rather use in developing new equipment, etc., which is a huge sum of money because we are so dependent on Israel, France, Russia, the US. When we have so much of brain here, we're not able to develop our own defense machinery, and this money can be used for that. Unfortunately, that's not happening because a chunk of it is going through pensions. Now, one is lowering of the age. Second, the pension part of it. Also, these are the advantages. The disadvantages are that usually what statistics says when a person goes into the army, camaraderie is extremely important.
Correct.
You need to really gel well with your team, right? That takes about 2 to 3 years. So this is only a 4-year period where 75% will be relieved at the end of 4 years. They'll be given a package of 11.9 lakhs. And only 25% will be retained and commissioned into the army. So this is only your Jawan, Nayak, Lance Nayak and Havaldar.
But this is not that crazy an idea. Israel follows a similar sort of an idea. But the Israeli army is on the top.
Again, that conversation has to happen.
But how do you
now
have a conversation?
You have parliament. You have parliament.
Exactly.
Each parliamentarian represents 7 assembly constituencies. One assembly constituency is about on an average 3 lakh people. So that is about 21 lakh people. Talk to them. You have the numbers. You can just push it through. So now you are in such a position where whatever you do, you are seen with because you're not confident. You feel whatever this government is doing.
Saying the masses are suspicious because it's so quick.
Correct.
But also another thing is that, like, see, there is one thing about the army that everybody should know, that the army has different, like the Sikh battalion will have only 6. The Madras battalion will only have Madras, like whatever it is, like, but it's very, very particular in that sense. They have their own culture. Every battalion has their own culture. So therefore, to explain to this culture, he has to go through this parliamentary process, who's their elected representative, to push it to them, saying that, like, I was reading about it with Colonel, I think, I can't remember his name very well. I watched a whole podcast on this, and he said that everybody is very specific and they have a very different way of living. When you say half past right, everyone will turn 45 degrees.
Correct.
Okay, that is the underlying thing that they have, but they are very, very, very unique. Every battalion is very unique. So how will this address that as well? Like, like how will you choose which person comes? Like, this is open to all Indians.
Again, so this is a valid point. There are 2 issues here. One, I told you, is about camaraderie, takes time. Second, a lot of people are bringing in the whole national security issue. Say, again, on an average, it takes about 3 years for a person, for a Jawan to be combat ready. You are reducing the teaching time to 6 months.
Correct.
So then you are talking about the efficacy of the army. And the other issue is when they get decommissioned, when they go out of the army, what happens to them? Because again, they are competing with somebody who's just finished his 12th, because now they've just increased the age from 17 and a half to 23 years. So when he goes outside, he'll be competing for a job with the guy who's just finished his 12th. So they say, we'll give you a certificate and probably then you'll get a job. But is that a guarantee? So these are the See, people go into government jobs, into the army for security. Indians more than money want security and things like that. So how are you going to address these issues? Everybody is doing it. I absolutely agree that you have to lower the average age of the army. So one is national security. So how are you preparing them and how are you making them combat ready? These are small issues that you have to have a conversation with.
And once you are combat ready, like this person, for example, has spent 3 years learning, and now they have one more year of service. For example, there is a war, and he's on the border or wherever it is. Have you not heard of PTSD?
Yeah.
Okay, what about the mental aspect? Like in the army, because you're dealing with such pressures, you're constantly in, not everybody, of course,
I'll
but
tell
the
you,
people who are joining for Agnipath, they are the front Jawans only.
Yeah.
thing
They
is,
are not-
every change
They're-
always will have some winners and losers in it. But I think when I'm trying to defend the government in this particular
Modi
aspect,
ji, you can say it.
let me just explain this. Is that basically combat has changed. Most wars are not being fought by soldier shooting soldier anymore. It's got a lot to do with drones, got a lot to do with satellites, got a lot to do with missiles now. It's not got so much as to I have 1,000,000 soldiers and you have 500,000. So nowadays it doesn't depend on how many soldiers you have. We have to make ourselves more asset light. We have to become more for using our resources for better uses as well. And plus the particular people who are depending on the army for a job, rather than the army should not be a resource for a job. Like if you want a job, okay, then there's multiple other aspects which government also offers to you. If you're looking just at the army as a way to sort out your life for the rest of it, well, look at this. If, you work with these 4 years, you end up getting 12 lakh package, boom, right over there. This is 12 lakhs which normally would not have been commissioned to some
But
soldier.
also, but Suryaveer, see, end of the day, yes, you might go into the army, you might be very patriotic. Also, money is important.
12
Right?
lakhs after 4 years, is that not good?
But again, with these issues that have to be addressed,
Yeah.
will he get a definite job? Will he get a government job? Right now, there's no clarity on that. You have people like Anand Mahindra tweeting saying that we'll give a job, but at the end of it, are you actually going to give jobs?
As what?
Nobody is going to come, even in the army, nobody is going to come
But
and do it for
isn't
free
the
because
Indian-
uska bhi ghar chalna
Yeah,
hai.
exactly.
To expect an army officer or an army jawan to come and just selflessly do it,
Okay.
we cannot do it.
But isn't the
Now,
Indian society too dependent on government?
Explain one thing to me. Surya, you have a choice.
Yeah.
Like you have a very clear choice in front of you. You either educate yourself and have the opportunity to finish 12th grade and have the opportunity to go to college and build another kind of life, or you do 4 years of Agnipath and get 11 lakh rupees and not be educated. Like, because you are missing your education, right? Like you are
Most of these
100%.
people who are applying would never have
it's-
gotten a college education either way.
No, but
No,
like,
I mean,
that's
see,
not,
again,
that's,
we can't
that's
say.
the wrong way of looking at it. No, he wouldn't have got it, so therefore,
You
that's
can
your
always
judgment.
enter college
See,
regardless of your age.
no, that's what I'm saying. This is a scheme that's been followed by many countries which have ace armies. You have your advantages, you have your disadvantages, you have certain issues. The other issue is there are a lot of people who wrote their physical exam but didn't write their written exam because of COVID. Now they are being asked to go into the Agnipath scheme. So they say, Arey bhai, for 2 years I've done this. Because of COVID I've not written my this. I'm not being commissioned into the army, but I'm going into this scheme. So there are these small things that are valid issues.
Yeah.
The government has such brilliant machinery. It has TV channels at its disposal.
Correct.
You have a prime minister who does his Man Ki Baat.
Yeah.
You come talk, tell them,
But
give
there
them
is-
confidence.
But
If
there is zero. Sir, like
there
you
is
said.
nothing,
Yeah.
again, it is suddenly it just springs
No,
up
but,
on you.
after the
springs
whole
up on
thing,
you.
like Agnipath has been launched, such a big protest has happened. The
Also, a
country
lot
is
about
this
misinformation. A lot of people don't know actually what it is.
thing, what it is exactly.
And
so
then-
So a lot of these protests are just out of fear of the unknown.
Let me finish. So now this whole thing has happened. Recently, Modi ji has done a Man Ki Baat. He's spoken for hours and hours about the emergency. He has not said a single thing about Agnipath. Why is that? You know what is why?
And
What's stopping him?
coming from him.
Yeah,
You-
coming from
okay, we
him,
agree.
no.
You're looked at as
Yeah.
a revered leader.
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
that. Speak about your own policies.
Yeah.
You're continuously you're spending all your time in criticizing the government. Going back into the past. We've learned that you only learn from your past. We cannot change certain things.
Exactly.
We only can learn from them.
Now-
if it is, it is an important
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a huge chunk. Now we are having an issue with China as well.
Yeah.
So we need all hands on deck. That's what I'm foreseeing. So things like this make a huge difference.
And we
Shashwat, but
all-
one
yeah.
question I wanted to get into, moving away from this as well, is we've seen a lot of policies come out, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. I'm just going to fire some at you. You just tell me, in your aspect, success or failure. Let's start off first talking about Article 370 removal.
controversial. I won't say success or failure. Again, there are a lot of issues over there. Why Kashmir, Jammu
Everything is
Kashmir
grey,
have been
understand.
given
Yeah.
a special status. I think all those also have to be addressed. You suddenly just cannot put a blanket and expect everything to be resolved. First, the fire within has to be sorted out. So I would say it is a failure because those issues, now you're having series of issues happening again and again.
But there's always
Some of
been
them
issues, even though they had articles
which have to be sorted out. Then they could have gone ahead and done this.
All right. Another aspect is the Nal Se Jal scheme, which had just come out.
Yeah, I think that's a success.
Yeah,
right?
because apparently
100%.
a large chunk of Indian villagers, women used to spend a big chunk of the day just walking just to get water.
No, of
so
course,
that's but this is something which annoys me, is that we have been independent from the British for over 70 years, and we are addressing water delivery today. Whether there's no new tech required for that. It was just laying of pipes and
But if
allocating funds.
You're not looking at a country that is a country. We are how many years old now?
75, 74, 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I probably got that wrong. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, look at other countries that lost. America's 300 or 400 years old now. At like 75 years, they were killing each other. At civil war, it has taken them time. We're a very, very, what I'm trying to
But
say.
we
very,
want
very,
it now. We want it.
We want it now and then. Yeah, you're right. Basic issues,
Yeah.
drainage, garbage,
Like
frustrating.
for example, we as an Indian society, we are a very, very filthy society to some aspect as to how
घर
we
में
just
घर में मत फेंको बाहर से
बाहर
दीवार
फेंको।
के ऊपर से फेंको
So when Modi started Swachh Bharat,
गाड़ी में से जाओ
फेंको,
फेंको GHMC वाले का काम है
Exactly.
this is even our we've been
if a
institutionalized
billion and a half people
Institutionalized, that's the word.
are littering, then nothing the government can do, because it has to come from within. Mentally, people
So
have
many
to-
How will that
things.
happen?
So it's a lot to do with communication. It's got a lot.
That's it.
So, yeah. So exactly. So a lot of people just presume like, oh, what is this Swachh Bharat now? A lot of it has also got. India had the largest percentage of population which was defecating outside. 60% of India was defecating outside in 2014. That number has drastically dropped to the lower 20% as well. It's just basic utilizing your funds in the correct way. I think before, why I became a Congress hater was just because under that Manmohan Singh government, they were just not addressing these basic issues which needs no technology, which needs just basic common civil sense, where the Modi government, what have they done to make this Swachh Bharat toilets? They've just allocated funds to the panchayat and they just follow up as to has the toilet been made? Yes, okay, here comes your next series of
but then
payment.
in this also I wish like outcome and output. Outcome, yeah, we've given so many.
Yeah,
Output, what is the output also we have to see.
Yeah.
This is something that also has to come out. Outcome, yes, there are brilliant numbers.
Okay.
But output also is there a good ratio between the outcome and output also
Of
is
course,
something.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
In a
It
day,
takes time.
we'll have to look at all those things.
Another policy. What about our foreign policy?
Foreign policy also,
How is India viewed today compared to 2014?
I think it's taken India many years
Correct.
to build a foundation to where it is. But you have somebody now who's come and like hijacked that and said this has happened in the last 8 years. Even now with the whole with the Qatari government talking about Nupur Sharma and things like that also, suddenly it's sort of pushed people's throat that we have come and done this and we've become this Vishwa Guru after I have come. But it has been careful, good policy from many years that has brought us to this point. And I hope he continues that.
So I have a slightly different view on this. What I feel is that, like, at a certain point in history, we were the most, richest country because we used to export spices and all of those raw materials and commodities. So therefore, the world needed us. So we were up there in this thing. When oil and the Industrial Revolution came, we lost this thing because that became the most effective commodity that was ruled, the world needed. Now, data is the biggest commodity that the world needs.
Yeah.
And we have the second biggest population on the planet. They cannot sideline us anymore. And that's a fact. And for me, that data has made a big difference to countries viewing us, because think any bigger company, if they want anything from India, we are 1.8 billion population, 1.5 billion
1.4.
population, 1.4, 1.5 billion. They cannot ignore us. We are the second, because China is not going to allow the population to use any external this thing. The second biggest is India. The second most money is going to come out of the second most data is going to come out of India.
Yeah, a lot of things are going for India.
Yeah.
I think we just all the right channeling will, I think, propel us to, and we are a young country.
Yeah.
I mean, ages between 15 to 40, we are going to be 50% very, very soon.
Correct.
That's unbelievable.
Yes.
So aspirations are high.
Yeah.
So you need to channel all this young energy in the right direction. And yeah, we need to have more expectations from our government, as civil society. As I keep saying, we need to have certain expectations from our, we need to voice out. I mean, this is brilliant that you guys are doing this.
Yeah.
Wherever this is going to reach out.
I mean, hopefully that's the idea.
So
like,
many
you know,
conversations you have with our friends. No, go ahead.
Yeah. No, Sashwath, so like I believe you're going to be starting a new political party as well.
Correct.
To the critics who would just be like, hey boss, only BJP or Congress will win. So what is the point?
We are getting that quite often now. People are saying, is it possible? Hoga kya? Do you have the money? Or, oh my God, he wants to start a party. Does he have a lot of money?
Like even Aam Aadmi Party with all its hoo-ha is still inching very slowly.
Is a failure in my opinion in many ways.
They won Punjab.
They won Punjab, but then making a absolute disastrous cake out of it. But yeah, what they also focus on what the issues that we want to focus on are also very, very similar. We are going to focus on education. We're going to focus on health. We are going to focus on, I don't want to use women empowerment because it's been used to
too much in the
but giving women a place in the corridors of power.
Equal role.
Good role, equal role. Because right now the roles that are given, they're just relegated to a corner. Things like that. So this is going to be a very, very different party. It's going to be a party that's going to bring in a lot of new blood. It's not going to have your usual political crowd. So people can't say, acha, same people have just come into this. A lot of educated people will come in. And so we have high expectations. Right now people look at us, because again, of how the political establishment is, people say, is it possible? Hoga kya inse? But again, my father's spearheading this, and he says, I'm going to try. If I succeed, nothing like it. If I fail, at least I'll know that as a person who really cares about the society, I have tried. And I will not, when I will die peacefully.
It's all you can do, no? That's what I feel. It's all you can do. You can just try. What happens is,
one question I want. If you're Prime Minister, you're 2040, what are top 3 things which you will immediately think is needed to fix India? 3 things.
I think I'd focus on the 3 things I told you. I'd focus definitely on health.
We have a health massive.
I think we health is something. Infrastructure.
That's one.
Accessibility to health. Awareness. COVID has really given us a huge, a wake-up call of where we are and how even that has been exploited. Education.
Only 3.5% of our budget goes into education.
Imagine last election, look at the irony. You had a contender from the ruling party who was contesting an election. And then you had an independent who was also contesting the same election. And the Election Commission of India allotted him a rail engine, and the ruling party's symbol is ambassador. Immediately the ruling party files an affidavit with the Election Commission and says, please remove, people will get confused. We are at that state.
Very petty.
If you have education. So imagine a person, they think that a guy cannot distinguish between a rail engine and an ambassador. Also, you will have, say, for example, a Vinay Kumar. P. Vinay Kumar. You will have an E. Vinay Kumar, C. Vinay Kumar, D. Vinay Kumar, Vijay Kumar to again confuse the electorate. He can't even recognize. We are still in the age of symbol. Kamal ko vote dalo, Haath ko vote dalo, Patang ko dalo. Where are we?
That's my point. How can you even reason with certain people who are at that particular stage to explain to them Agnipath, farm laws and so on and so forth? They very easily can get
manipulated, swayed because...
And the last point. Third one.
Last point would be infrastructure.
infrastructure.
I think
but BJP has been doing a decent.
It
good
is
job.
doing it.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm not denying it, but I think if you can send it, if you can make it reach equally, because right now again our politics is very centered around
What he means is not equally justice.
Yeah, because it's not centered equally. Now Telangana is being
Shiraz's
ignored.
favorite
There's
word,
no
justice.
Yeah, Telangana is being ignored.
Yeah.
Suddenly you find election in West Bengal, suddenly you go and dump all the projects there. Things like that. You see, I think we need to
Get out of
grow
this.
up
Yeah, exactly.
as politicians.
Yeah.
So there might be certain places where we are not in power.
Yeah.
And we need
Doesn't
to,
mean people are still there. It's
end of the day, connectivity, road connectivity will make a huge difference in our country.
Yeah.
I mean, even today we bypass villages. We are doing it, but very, very slow.
Slow. Yeah.
Thank you, Shashwat.
Thank you.